is the biomes of the world. The first one is deserts. Deserts has lowest precipitation of all the biomes. There are 3 types of deserts: tropical, temperate, and cold. Tropical desert is very hot and dry most of the year. Temperate desert is further from the equator and it's hot days and cold nights. Cold deserts has the cold precipitation and cold temperatures.
Now we have the grasslands, which is in the middle of the continent, and that's the place where it's too wet to have deserts, but also too dry to have forests. And our first type of grassland we have is the tropical grassland. And in the tropical grassland, it's wet in the winter and dry in the summer. And there's some small trees and common wildfires. Our next is temperate grasslands, or otherwise called the prairies, where winds blow continuously and evaporation is really fast, which leads to fires in the summer and fall a lot. We then have cold grasslands, or the Arctic tundra. There, it's like the coldest part, and it's really bitterly cold. And then lastly, we have the temperate shrubland / chaparral. And there's more rainfall, shrubs. The summer is hot and dry, and
Okay, another biome of the world are forests. Forests are a large area covered with trees and undergrowth. There are 3 types of forests: tropical rainforest, temperate forest, and evergreen and coniferous forest. Tropical rainforests have rain mostly every day, year-round warm temperatures and high humidity. Temperate forests are more rain throughout the year and moderate temperatures that change with the seasons. Evergreen forests have a lot of snow. The winters are long and dry and extremely cold, and short with cool and warm temperatures.
the types of animals that live in tropical deserts are coyotes and kangaroo rats, and these animals have learned to stay in the shade to avoid overheating. And then with scarce water, they get most of their water from the plants that they eat. And then some types of plants that we have are the creosote bush and the burr sage. And they've also learned to adapt to the very hot temperatures which are in the tropical desert.
Okay, evergreen forests have lots of snow. Winters are long and dry and extremely cold and short with cool to warm temperatures.
Okay, so now we have the animals of the cold deserts, and we have jackrabbits and bison. These animals have learned to adapt to their environment by having fur, so in the winter when it's really cold, their fur keeps them warm. And then when it's really hot in the summer, their fur will cool them down. And then a few plants that we have are the shade scale and the camel's thorn. Most shed their leaves and have spiny leaves.
Okay, types of plants and animals that live in temperate deserts are: animals are zebra-tailed lizard and the back-trained camel. Animals that live here have slender bodies, which are better for shedding, and camels store water in their humps to survive. The plants are the prickly pear and saguaro cactus. They are dry plants and able to survive in the heat. Prickles help save them from predators.
So for grassland and prairie, we have prairie dogs and swift foxes. And because there's an abundance of grass, they mostly are herbivores, and they feed off of the plants that are readily available to them. And then a couple of plants that we have are the purple needle grass and blue gamma, and the growth point of those are very close to the ground. That is to prevent them from dying out from wildfires.
Okay, go. Plants and animals that live in the tropical savanna are zebras and rhinos and grass and trees. Animals have learned to live without much water and in a dry climate. Without trees, savanna biome would be considered a prairie. They learn to adapt quickly with little
In the
water.
alpine tundra, a couple of animals that we have are the alpaca and the chinchilla, and these animals hide underneath rocks and boulders to survive. And then they store food whenever they have it in their haystacks or in their humps, just in case if there isn't food at one point, and then they'll have some to eat later. And then a few plants that we have in the alpine tundra are the alpine phacelia and the wild potato. And these plants are rather dark, that is so they don't lose heat and energy, which is essential.
Types of plants and animals that live in the cold tundra grasslands are Arctic fox and the grizzly bear, and Arctic moss and bearberry. The animals learn to adapt with their thick fur in the extreme cold. The plants grow low to the grass due to the lack of nutrients by being so close to the ground and keeps them from freezing.
Now we have the types of plants and animals that live in temperate deciduous forests. We have the American bald eagle and also the duck-billed platypus. These animals have learned to migrate and hibernate to adapt to their environment. And then for a couple of plants, we have the white oak and pecan trees. And then they have broad leaves to capture all the sunlight they can to turn it into photosynthesis so that they can get food.
Animals and plants that live in the tropical forest are the chimpanzees and the Bengal tiger, coconut trees, and Bengal bamboo. The 4 layers of the rainforest is ideal shelter for the animals. In the trees, monkey uses leaves for protection. The plants for trees have the smooth bark and leaf shapes that help water drip off plants to avoid much moisture.
Last but not least, we have the animals that live in the temperate rainforest. And a couple animals we have are the mountain lions and the Pacific tree frogs. And they are able to adapt to changing seasons, and they also migrate and hibernate. And then a couple plant growths that we have are the Douglas firs and the Sitka spruces. And these trees go very tall due to a lot of precipitation.
Types of plants and animals that live in coniferous forests are the moose and monarch butterfly, the balsam fir trees, and ferns. Some of the animals hibernate during the winter, and others migrate to warmer climates. The plants, most of them have needle-like leaves, which collect sunlight.
Thank you for watching our video of the biomes of the world.
Tune in next week for our next video.